something a little intimidating about when you're driving up here and you can see the peak of Mount Chocorua. So anybody who's been up to North Conway, Tamworth area, it's the Rocky Mountain that you're seeing as you first come up. It's beautiful. I've done this before, so I'm not sure why I'm a little nervous, but we're gonna go up the Brook Trail and then down the Liberty Trail, so Brook Liberty Loop. I did this with my dad. I was like, oh, just a few years ago, I looked at the book we have where we date all our hikes. It was 20 years ago. So just a few years ago. So come along as we hike Mount Chocorua, Liberty, Brook Trail.
But we are going to Mt Chocorua.
This is part of the trail I remember where you start to see these pretty streams or waterfalls all the way up. We're on the Brook Liberty Trail. The sign is a little confusing, but we think we're on the right path. I'll show you the waterfall that you can probably hear. We're about a mile in and you can kind of hear it. You can't really see it in the camera, but I can see here the beautiful brook we're following all the way up. It's just gorgeous. As we're hiking up, you can see the brook a little more clear. It's gorgeous. I think we're on the right track this time. Got a little turned around at one point, but it's all good. The trail is not super duper well marked. It's yellow markings, so sometimes it blends in the way the sun hits the trees. It's a little hard to see, but we're still heading up. We're about a mile. I should check. How far are we? Almost a mile and a half. Not quite. Still following the brook the whole way. Here we are. I think we're crossing part of the brook, or at least part of the runoff. You can see it running down there. I'll show you where we cross over it, head up the trail. Little muddy, beautiful though. We're about 2 miles in, about a little over 600 feet of elevation gain, so we have quite a bit more to go. But look at this beautiful waterfall. It is gorgeous. You can hear it really well. This is the first time we've been able to see it in a little while. I'll see if I can show you a little bit better. It's gorgeous. First time we're seeing wildlife on the trail. That guy is so fuzzy. A little muddy, a little wet. It's a little interesting. All right, we're on the right trail, but there was definitely some questionable parts. Like, we haven't seen a trail marker in a very, very long time, but we saw the sign, beautiful dragonfly. So it looks like we're only 0.3 away from the summit. We're almost there. We are hitting the rocks, so it's a good sign. I think we're doing all right, but whew. Made it to the summit. It was a little hairy at a few points, but the views are 10 out of 10. And I'll show you the little plaque, the metered fish owl. We made it to the top. I am beat. That was a very challenging hike. We did the Brook Trail on the way up and the Liberty Trail on the way down. The Brook Trail on the way up was mostly okay marked. We definitely got lost on the top, but made it to the summit, as you saw. The Liberty Trail going down felt a lot longer, and it felt like you were on a steady decline the whole way down. So I'm glad we did it that way, the Brook Trail and then the Liberty Trail. I would say this is definitely not a beginner hike. This is not my first time hiking it, but it's definitely been my first time in a few years. I haven't hiked this in a while. Like I said, I remember doing it with my dad, but when I looked at the book, it was like 20 years ago. So I totally recommend this. The views were 10 out of 10. The trail is absolutely gorgeous. We really didn't see a whole lot of people. When we got there, there was only one other car in the parking lot, and then when we got back to the car, there might have been 4 or 5 cars in the parking lot. We're now at McDonald's to use the restroom, because that's the one thing. There is no restroom on this trail, so just to take note if that is something you need, like me. But 10 out of 10, let me know. Have you ever done this? Would you do it? Do you have any hikes to recommend around that same level of difficulty? 10 out of 10 views and maybe not 10 out of 10 for difficulty.